Throughout history, societies have devised numerous methods for carrying out the death penalty. Each reflects the technology, values, and at times the brutality of its era. Here are dangerous methods of execution used in the world. Hanging. One of the most common historical methods is hanging. The prisoner is suspended by the neck with a noose, intended to break the neck for a quick death or to cause death by strangulation. Its efficiency often depended on the length of the drop. It was widely used in Britain and the United States and remains legal in a few countries today. Firing squad. The firing squad involves a group of soldiers, typically 5, firing simultaneously at the prisoner's heart. One rifle is usually loaded with a blank to allow each member to believe they may not have fired a fatal shot. This method has been used for military executions and is currently an option in a few U.S. states like Utah. Electrocution. Introduced as a more humane alternative to hanging, the electric chair straps the condemned person into a specially built chair. A jolt of high-voltage electricity is passed through the body, intended to cause immediate unconsciousness and brain death. First used in the 1890s, it's now a rarely used method in the United States. Lethal gas. Lethal gas execution involves sealing the prisoner in an airtight chamber and introducing poisonous gas, such as hydrogen cyanide. The prisoner loses consciousness and dies from hypoxia. This method was developed in the 20th century but has fallen out of favor due to concerns about the suffering it may cause. Lethal injection. The most common method in the modern United States is lethal injection. It typically uses a 3-drug cocktail, an anesthetic to induce unconsciousness, a paralytic to stop breathing, and a substance to stop the heart. Despite its clinical appearance, it has been controversial due to botched procedures and questions about the drugs used. Beekeeping. An ancient method, beekeeping or execution by scaphism, involved trapping a person between 2 boats or hollowed-out logs with their head and limbs exposed. They were force-fed milk and honey to induce severe diarrhea, which would attract insects that would slowly devour the trapped person over days. It was a form of torture and execution practiced in ancient Persia. Guillotine. Designed for a swift and egalitarian death, the guillotine uses a heavy, angled blade dropped from a height to behead the condemned. It became infamous during the French Revolution, as it was meant to be a painless and efficient machine of death, applying the same punishment to nobles and commoners alike. Crucifixion. Crucifixion was a brutal method used extensively by the Romans. The condemned person was nailed or tied to a large wooden cross and left to hang until they died from exhaustion, asphyxiation, or shock. It was a public and prolonged form of execution designed to deter rebellion and instill fear. Stoning. Stoning is a traditional method where a group of people throws stones at a person until they die. It is prescribed in some religious texts for certain crimes and is still practiced in a few countries today. The large, blunt stones are intended to cause a slow, painful death. Brazen bull. One of the most cruel inventions was the brazen bull. This was a hollow brass statue shaped like a bull. The victim was locked inside and a fire was lit underneath, roasting them to death. The design allegedly channeled the victim's screams through tubes in the bull's head to sound like the bellowing of an animal. Dismemberment. Used in medieval Europe and other parts of the world, execution by dismemberment involved tying the prisoner to 4 horses or oxen, each attached to a limb. The animals were then driven in different directions, tearing the body apart. It was reserved for crimes considered the most severe, like treason. Shooting, single executioner. Distinct from a firing squad, a single shooting is a common method of execution worldwide. The prisoner is typically shot in the head or heart by a single executioner, often while kneeling or tied to a post. This method is currently used in countries like China, North Korea, and Belarus. These methods reveal a stark history of how justice has been administered, reflecting a continual struggle between seeking retribution, providing deterrence, and pursuing humanity.